1695 of the Second Age, a shadow stretches out from Mordor, setting its sights firmly upon Eregion, land of the Elven-smiths. The forges of Ostin Edil glow bright, unaware of the storm approaching, a storm the Rings of Power series failed to capture fully. When Sauron's deception is unmasked, his wrath is swift and merciless. Revealing his true self, he marshals an army of unprecedented size. Orc legions march forth, disciplined and relentless, armored in black iron. Alongside them are trolls, driven mad by cruelty, their mighty arms wielding immense clubs and siege hammers. Wolves bred for war dash ahead, scouts and heralds of the darkness that follows. Tolkien vividly describes the urgency as Gil-galad. High King of the Noldor sends urgent messages to Celebrimbor, warning of imminent assault. Gil-galad himself mobilizes forces from Lindon, dispatching Elrond to aid the beleaguered region. But the speed and ferocity of Sauron's offensive are unmatched, catching Eregion tragically unprepared. The initial strike is sudden and devastating. Sauron's forces cross swiftly from the east, breaching the natural defenses formed by the river Saranan, and swiftly advancing towards Ostin Edhill, the elven city famed for its skilled craftsmen. Unlike the brief and sanitized portrayal in the series, Tolkien reveals the brutal reality faced by the elves. The outer watchtowers collapse first, their defenders, overwhelmed by sheer numbers, cut down where they stand. Celebrimbor, grandson of Fëanor and greatest of smiths since the First Age, knows what is at stake: the Rings of Power themselves. Rallying his people, he calls desperately for resistance, but Sauron has planned this strike meticulously. The city's main gates fall to great battering rams fashioned in Mordor. Iron-tipped beams shattering the ornate doors crafted in an age of peace. Streets designed for beauty become avenues of death. Elven warriors forced to form barricades amid plazas where artists once displayed their creations. Desperate fighting erupts across Ostin Edhill. Elven archers stationed upon high balconies rain arrows down upon the enemy, each shot precise and deadly, thinning the advancing ranks of orcs. But each fallen foe is replaced by two more, surging forward tirelessly. Tolkien describes this phase vividly, noting how the ground grew dark with orcish blood, yet still they pressed forward, driven by Sauron's malice. A particular brutality the series overlooked is Celebrimbor's valiant last stand at the doors of the House of the Myrdain, the guild where the Rings of Power were crafted. Here, he and his smiths mount a final, desperate defense. Wielding swords never intended for war, they strike with courage born of desperation. For hours, they hold the enemy at bay, hewing down orcs by the dozen, but inevitably, exhaustion claims them. One by one, Celebrimbor's closest allies fall around him, their blood mingling with the dust of their shattered home. Finally, Sauron himself appears, towering and terrible. In Tolkien's writings, he is described as fearsome and ruthless, his very presence causing despair among the defenders. Ignoring the scattered warriors around him, Sauron moves directly towards Celebrimbor, intent on capturing him alive. Knowing his peril, Celebrimbor fights fiercely, yet in the end he is subdued by Sauron's sheer strength and sorcery, dragged before the steps of the Guildhall. Sauron demands that Celebrimbor surrender the Rings of Power. Defiant to the last, Celebrimbor refuses, enduring torment rather than betray the location of the three rings made without Sauron's guidance. But under torture, he reveals the fate of the 7 and the 9, rings made with Sauron's knowledge, but without suspicion of his evil design. Enraged at Celebrimbor's refusal to yield all secrets, Sauron orders him cruelly slain, his body pierced with arrows and hung upon a pole as a grim standard for his armies, a detail the Rings of Power chose to omit entirely. Amid the city's ruin, Elrond's host arrives from Lindon, delayed by enemy skirmishers along their path. Although too late to save Celebrimbor, they strike fiercely, carving a narrow path to evacuate survivors. Elrond's warriors form disciplined ranks, their bright armor gleaming defiantly amidst devastation. Tolkien recounts how Elrond, realizing Ostin Edil is lost, orders a fighting retreat northward. Gathering scattered survivors, he establishes a stronghold in the hidden valley of Imladris, later called Rivendell, a haven that will resist darkness for millennia to come. Meanwhile, Sauron's forces scatter in pursuit of Elrond's fleeing refugees, yet fail to capture or destroy them entirely. Frustrated but triumphant, Sauron claims the 9 and 7 rings, soon corrupting men into ring-wraiths and fueling dwarven greed and ruin. However, the 3 remain hidden, safe in the hands of Galadriel, Gil-galad, and eventually Elrond, forever out of Sauron's grasp. The Battle of Eregion was a devastating blow for the Elves, their vibrant realm shattered, their greatest craftsmen slain, and their treasures plundered by evil. Yet Tolkien emphasizes its profound importance. This event hardened the resolve of men and elves alike, forging alliances and fueling resistance that would last throughout the Second and Third Ages. It set into motion events leading directly to the War of the Last Alliance, and ultimately to the final defeat of Sauron thousands of years later. Yet its tragedy remains stark, captured vividly by Tolkien's own words. Thus ended Eregion, and its glory passed into shadow. In correcting the Rings of Power portrayal, the Battle of Eregion emerges not simply as a lost fight, but as a courageous, desperate struggle against overwhelming darkness. It reminds us that even amid ruin and despair, resistance can survive, hope can be reborn, and even the mightiest evil cannot entirely erase the bravery of those who oppose it. For as Tolkien himself so poignantly wrote of this moment, there was sorrow in Eregion, but there was valor too, unyielding to the last. Click below and reward yourself with another fascinating and exciting story.